Please welcome Chic singing Good Times.
Hello. Hello out there. Welcome. It's a nice Sunday. Hopefully everybody's having a great week. I'm just making sure I'm staying as protected as possible. I didn't realize how muffled this might sound, but here I am. So hello out there. See a couple people out there. What's up, everybody? So I really don't have any ideas for this week. I think next week, although I think I said this last week, that I think we would have been able to get back to regular jiu-jitsu stuff this week. Not so fast, but I believe next Sunday we'll be doing a real jiu-jitsu stream again. So, in the meantime, here I am. I have something I'd like to watch. Flow Grappling actually just posted it today. It's a roll between Damian Maia and Jonathan Alves. It's about 7 minutes long. I've never seen it before. I don't know what it's from. But I'd like to watch it in my plan. Oh, I don't like how that light is showing up on that wall, but whatever. Oh, apparently when I move it makes it worse. Look at that. That's weird. Anyway. So, unless someone has something else they would like me to do, I am going to watch that and comment on it. Might do some gaming afterwards. We'll see. I should probably update this. Let's see here. And I'll update that to change that to that. Take that. And there we go. Now, of course, I just realized I did that. Copy that. And we're going to transition to this. With this. Ooh. There we go. Mm-hmm. Oh, did that not put that filter on? It did not. Sorry, give me a second here. Roll. All right, there we go. Training is situational awareness around when you get on bottom, what to do to stop pressure. So, I certainly can. So I'm going to take this. This is ridiculous. This is going to drive me crazy. That's the Mastermind company sent me, by the way. They sent me they're really thin, but they sent me 8 of them, so I guess I can just double up on those. There we go. I need to stay warm. This is an alpaca hat, just for your information. All right. So I'm going to watch this and then I'll talk about that. I'll also probably point that out in here, although I don't know. I don't know, actually. I feel like Damian Maia can be pretty pressureful when he wants to. I've seen him do a lot of jiu-jitsu and MMA, but to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Damian Maia gi jiu-jitsu, so I'm interested to see this. I feel like this is from probably sometime in the last year or two, this training footage. I almost feel like this was posted on Flow Grappling sometime in the past year or two. And I may have watched it then, but they're reposting a lot of stuff now. So, and my video will probably get kicked off of YouTube because of copyright for this, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So starting out here, you see Maia gets up and then goes back down, grip here. That was with that grip, you see I just pointing out, he's starting to deal with this grip. He's driving his knee in here tight, making sure his frame and his base is strong. Looks like Alves is turning out a little bit here and trying to control under this. I'm guessing Maia is probably going to start trying to control this leg in some way and start to stand and extend out and get around it, but I don't know. Depends on what Alves does with this grip. But see, if you see, look right here, Alves has a good grip here. Maia probably needs to either re-grab so he can kind of nullify the power of that grip, or use some kind of control in the pants, which is going to help that arm. Well, he just let it go now. So, and he steps up. And this looks like they're pretty much flowing. They're not really going hard to the death. It's just De La Riva here. I'm trying to see where this gi's wrapped somewhere. Oh, okay, so the gi. So this gi is pulled through under this leg. He's controlling it with his hand. And then using that hook there to elevate to try to come under. And Maia probably, you can already feel, that's good sweep. So Maia's going 2-on-1 there. I like the 2 on. I do 2-on-1 a lot. If I'm ever on the bottom position, I'm almost always attacking for a 2-on-1 on the arm, unless we get to this kind of thing. He looks like he's going to go to either a single leg or a shin on shin type thing here. But for most of my guards, I'm almost always attacking 2-on-1, simply because 2-on-1, my arms on their one arm allows a lot of attacks and avenues to the back, depending on where you are, from half guard, from guard. It's something I do a lot of. So I'm looking for that in transitions. So it's even like here after the sweep, you'll look at immediately Maia kind of gets a sleeve grip here. He's going to transition, I think, to a 2-on-1 here. Oh, okay, so he goes for the arm drag 2-on-1. So he's gripping the tricep here with the grip here, which allows us, if Alves doesn't control where he is properly. I mean, you could turn this into an arm drag this way, where you shoot your hips out this way and drag, but usually not when this leg's up like this. This isn't going to be the position. He's going to have to adjust, and I don't think, he doesn't use it. So he goes to this single leg with the shin on shin, and then goes up to single leg X. I do that a lot, because this position, and it's easy to pop down and get them on their butt. Good job getting up from that. So that's usually the hard part. And like I said, this looks like they're flowing around, so it's not like they're fighting to the death to not let the sweep. But you see he gets that grip right through there, that lapel where it goes right under. So he has that leg across the shin, arm under with the lapel grip, which kind of locks all that. Lets him get that foot on the hip or use that. And he just switches around. And now he starts to kind of have a locked up avenue towards Maia's back. See, if Maia gets heavy or lifts, he's given up his back, so it's better at this point to kind of go down and try to regain position from here. They give it back. They're also being careful because they're right next to people. That's nice little spot, like TVs on the wall there and stuff. So you see feet on the hips there. That's gonna control the space. Even with that knee up, the feet on the hips is gonna win, I think. In that I'd rather be the guy with the feet on the hips than the guy with the knee through. Transition. Still, that knee on the hip is gonna create space. And see that turn there killed that foot. So that's where he's strut down there, scrambling to re-guard, gets back or re-establish that. There's a lot going on here. Ooh, backstep. Ooh, camera got kicked. Oh, I wish the camera had. Okay, that's a lot to go over right there, but that was fun. So, if you see there exactly, so see what happens here is the foot on the hip's gonna give control, but Alves has this arm under with his grip. So as soon as this foot's killed, he has an avenue to turn. This is puts him in Maia in a bad spot. This 201 is going to help control his ability to go that way, but their body movement's going to, especially once that foot goes off the hip, you'll see how it all kind of falls apart real quick. His foot goes off the hip because he turns his hip down, I think. It kind of changes the angle. Because they are there. See that change right there? That was good. So right now Maia can use that foot on the hip. What Alves does is I think he drives his knee through, which turns his hip, and he drives this down. Is that what happens? He uses his shoulder to drive that down? Yes. So see, that foot's across. As soon as he turns and drives, the foot on the hip goes away. And now Maia has to struggle to keep this leg elevated as a shield and with this grip. Because this grip should keep him from turning that way, but this grip is not, it's not going to keep this from getting smashed. And then once this gets smashed, this grip kind of becomes useless. And so, and once I see his head got over the top, so Maia knows he can't let it get compressed and smashed down, so he starts to extend out and create space again and basically goes to this reverse De La Riva because the situation was bad. So he wanted to change to a position he could recover from. And so here he gets to this reverse De La Riva, and you see he's shooting for the underhook right here, and Alves is going to fight to keep this underhook low and not let him get this underhook back. And then but he's so far back, the underhook can't be gotten anymore, and he starts to control. But see how he's elevated up here? It's putting a lot of pressure on this grip, because as soon as this grip goes away, this leg can come back and back step out, and you're like really struggling to not get your guard pass at that point. So he steps over, changes the angle to the other side, and then so he's trying to use movement now. So he goes to this, Maia recovers, trying to go back to that reverse De La Riva. Alves kind of squashes it and then uses the compression to be able to back step out to get that leg free. And then they turn, and then the camera gets kicked. And so now Maia's still trying to recover. Like I end up in this spot a lot where I'm struggling from the bottom to not get past. And I'm shooting, what I'm usually shooting for is to tie up a leg. Because once I can tie up a leg or get a butterfly hook onto a leg, I can start to use that to establish control. And that's what Alves is trying not to let happen, is control of that. So Maia turns now. He's coming up for the single leg, the drive forward, and gets it. So boom. So out of that scramble, Maia gets basically the sweep out of that. It ends up in closed guard. And you see here, immediately, Maia's not going to sit in the closed guard on his knee. So he stands up, turns his hip. So even with this angle, even if they get the underhook on the leg, it's not as useful as if your legs are square. With this angling here, even with the underhook, you could turn out, and the underhook is minimized by the position. I'm missing BJJ in a very big way right now. Yeah, I know, man. Nice to see you, Vermin. It's tough. It's definitely tough out there, man. I can't complain. I have the luxury of having a space I can train in, and like one or two people that will train with me. So I trained yesterday, but it's very limited. It's drilling. It's very. I'm basically kind of trying to keep my cardio up and just not kind of lose my stuff. So I'm taking advantage. One of my friends told me I was cheating by training during this time. So hey, what are you gonna do? But a lot of this can help, and I think this is a time just focus on something. It doesn't matter even what. I know a lot of people say you should do this, you should do this, don't do this, don't do that. To me, just focus on one thing that you can get better at. If you have space to do some movement drills, do some movement drills. Get better at your movement. You know, if it's your cardio is bad, then maybe now is the time to work on getting your cardio better, because you can do it. You know, and then when you get back to the jiu-jitsu, well, you might be a little behind in the technical side, but your cardio is going to be good. You know, I know it's hard to get motivated though, so I don't know if I'm one to preach, but if you see here with this stand up, if you watched my stream from 2 weeks ago, where Topaz and I are going over, or maybe it was 3 weeks ago, as brown belt, Topaz and I were going over some of our rolling, and you'll see this grip here can be key. Because if I was Alves, and like I said, I haven't watched through this really, or that I can remember. So for me personally, if I'm here, I have the underhook here, they're angled like this, and I have this grip, I'm going to open my guard and transition to X guard, because that's going to allow me to stretch them out and stand up or sweep them. But the key to this is going to be keeping this sleeve here, because if you go to X guard and you don't control the sleeve, they're going to use that hand to kill your X guard and push it out, or use it to control your foot and back step over, and then you're going to be in a bad spot. So controlling that would be key. I'm interested to see what Alves does here. The other thing I'll do a lot of times from here, if I'm in this configuration, is I'll switch this grip to this, and then you have an opportunity to extend your hips up and go to omoplata. The problem is you don't have a good control of their posture, so a lot of times they can posture out of it. But then you can use that to set up other things. So just an observation. So let's see what happens here. So he underhooks the leg. He's underhooking both legs. Interesting. And that's not bad. He's changing that hook over. Changing that hook over here. Now he has a good avenue to the back. You see, these hooks are going to keep Maia, well, when he takes it out as soon as I say that. See, Maia knows he can't go up. If he goes up, he's giving avenues to his back. Every time Alves has a chance to go to the back with a position, Maia is cognizant of not, but you see, even with that, Alves was able to elevate him up. But good job by Maia recovering there. Basically turned, a back take into a sweep. If you have to choose between your back taking or getting swept, you're going to get swept every time. So he's going for that butterfly control there, but Alves is doing a pretty good job. So he's transitioning back to the cross collar. I'm guessing sleeve control with this hook here. I don't know where the other foot is. There we go. Okay. So now, yeah, see, now it's a scramble to recover back to guard. So Alves goes for mount, but in that kind of gives up the pass, and Maia does a good job of turning it in single leg, coming up and sweeping. So now same thing. Maia's getting under. Is he going to double under? See, he does it. This right here is one thing I really like to do with my guard passing, because I'm more of a pressure-based passer. I do this a lot where I'm driving these knees into the backs of the legs or into their hips or whatever, or kind of stacking them and using the pressure with the knee to stack them, because I want that pressure to always be there. But if you look every time, Alves is doing a great job of basically underhooking that leg and getting a grip of that lapel, because then he can kick this leg over, and then he kind of has like a wrap around the leg that's hard to get out of. And he's used that twice already to essentially sweep Maia. So I don't know if Maia is going to be able to keep that from happening again. He's doing a good job of pressuring, but he's very flat. Like if I'm pressuring again, I want their hips up. But with his hips down like this is just using his leg flexibility to create barriers between you. So, and you see Maia stop driving in, and as soon as he stops driving in, this leg is controlled so much that it's hard to control this person from moving away or scooting around from in there. Whereas if he kept his leg up, he would have been driving in. The problem is you're kind of sitting there now. I think the way they're rolling, they want to keep moving. He doesn't want to just sit there and drive in, because you could sit there for a minute or two trying to pressure through or make them uncomfortable enough to where they have to change. Yeah, move those people. Get out of here, brown belts. I like the mirrors. It makes it look bigger. I like the grip here just to be able to control the posture a little bit, but he's changing it up now. You see with Alves, he could change his hip placement a lot. Like he has a lot of control of where his hips are right now. So if his hips turn out this way and attack a back attack, sweeps one way, and then he can switch his hips easily and attack the other direction as well. This is where it's like you kind of have to get this guy off of this sit up. You need to get him flattened out more. But it's hard because if Maia, first off, Maia's sitting there because he can't really do anything because there's people behind them that won't move. Yeah. And so see, that's the thing. Maia, if he elevates, he's giving paths under him. So the last couple times he just tried to stay low so he couldn't get under him. But this time he kind of just elevated. Plus, like I said, there's people in the way. I think they were just kind of moving around and stuff. But I like to see the grip through with the leg under. It just creates a butterfly hook here where you can elevate under them, and now just boom right to the back, and come up to the leg drag. And good job by Maia to keep the framing and turning back in, because you can't let him close the space there, or else he's just gonna get folded up on. You don't want that. I really wish they had more space. I would probably make this a little bit more, I won't say fun, but so he steps in, knee through, drive through, grabbing. This is pretty standard when you're going to be trying to pass from your knees. And then he elevates up, comes over that leg, and now people are getting kicked in the head. See, I really wish this was in a bigger space. Oh, I feel bad. I'm like, I just kicked Amy and Maia in the head. Whoops. You see here, so he has a choice between these two grips. He's kind of keeping a grip here. I don't know if I think this is on the he's not grabbing on the thigh area. He's grabbing on the shin. Because I think what he's trying to set up, what you can do with this positioning, is if you control this arm for base, and you can get a good enough kick under them to elevate them this way. If you control here and you control that post, you can kind of elevate your hips up and knock them this way. But he's kind of going back and forth between the two, between that and the collar, because I think he doesn't really know which one he wants to take. Because if you take the sleeve, the ability for them to posture out becomes a problem. But if you take the collar, then you can control their posturing, but then you don't have as many attacks from this positioning because they have that post. So he goes back to the sleeve here. But Alves changed it, and goes and shoots that underhook, which is good. He's using the underhook and the post here to come up, but Alves is kind of coming around the back. But I'm guessing the arm, it's down here for the single leg now. Good. That was a good job on that. I think Alves just recovers real quick. So it's a good job. Is that the end of the roll? That's the end of the roll. Yeah, so there you go. So that was fun. Enjoyable to watch. It would be, like I said, more enjoyable if people weren't kicking each other in the head so much. But what else is there? Is there other things to watch on here? What time is it now? So yeah, that's a good. That is a good deal. Back up here. Oops. No. I have to fix that text now. Change that to watch. So getting to what you were talking about. There we go. So when you're talking about you say training and situational awareness around when you get on bottom, what to do to stop pressure. So the big thing, did this fall down? This did fall down. The big thing is just not to be flattened. Because if you look at in that last roll, for example, when I was talking about how Maia really wants Alves' hips up off the ground, which then starts to get him what's the word, stacked up. This is weird. I usually don't wear a hat thing over this. It kind of keeps him from getting stacked up. If your hips are up, then you're compressed and you're stacked, and your legs don't have as much use. They're not going to be as useful. Whereas if your hips are flat, but your legs are still up, you have the ability to move your hips and move them out to the sides and position them differently and do all types of different things. So, the trick is really to not get pinned, because once you're pinned, then you kind of have to feel their weight. You have to have their weight on you. So it's really just focusing on framing and using the framing to get to your side, to get turned to your side, or to get space. and then either get a knee in or whatever. Because as soon as you start to create barriers between you and the opponent, generally that's going to help to keep the pressure off of you and help you to be able to like sit there without being crushed and killed totally. I'm going to find something else to review real quick while we're talking here. So the big thing is just to not let yourself get pinned and not let yourself get flattened out and stuff, and understanding like where you are, like what your, I don't want to say your abilities are, but knowing like if you're a smaller person, you just know you can't let the other person flatten you out, or else you're going to get stuck under someone that weighs 50 pounds more than you, and you're going to have to work extremely hard to get out of that. So instead of doing that, if you're a smaller person going against a much bigger person, you're not going to take as many risks in terms of attacking things that are going to allow the person to put you in vulnerable positions. That's like when I train with people that are a lot larger than me, my like the breadth of what I'm going to use is going to get smaller, simply because I'm not going to attack a triangle against someone that can stack me really bad, which is going to be bad for my back. From that triangle, they're going to stack me, and then if they pass my guard because I didn't get the triangle, now they're in side control, all their weight's on me, and now I have to fight to get out of here. So I might not attack triangles against some people, or if I attack a triangle, as soon as I kind of feel that it's not there, I'm bailing on it and re-establishing control. Because if I don't have control of the person, especially someone that's a lot bigger than me, I'm going to run into a lot of problems, because then I can't control where their weight is. So the other thing is, there's only so much you can do of this like this when you're new, is to get under people. Now that might seem counterproductive in terms of like philosophy, saying like, oh, well, if he's a big guy, if I get under him, his weight's going to be under me. Well, so it's getting under them in ways where their weight can't be on you. So, for example, if you're in a deep half, their weight's not going to be on you. Them attempting to get more weight on you from deep half generally makes it easier for you to do things from deep half. But regular half guard's bad. Generally, regular half guard's not the best spot to be against a much bigger person, unless you're using like a knee shield or whatever. And even then, if you're using a half guard against someone that's much bigger than you and you get the underhook and you turn to your side, their weight's not on you. Their weight's kind of in front of you, so they're not pressuring into you but if they get an underhook on your arm, they get you flattened out into that half guard position where you're really just kind of stuck flat under them. Well, now it's terrible, because now all their weight's on you, and it's going to be more on them, depending on here's the thing. Once you're at that point, if they decide they don't want to move, they decide they just want to sit there and hold on to you and keep all their weight on you, they kind of can, because now you're going to have to start expelling a lot of energy and stuff to get them off you. So if it was like a real situation, a live situation, or a life situation or like a no time limit situation or whatever, where someone has you in that half guard where all their weight's on you because they're 50 pounds heavier than whatever, they're happy just to sit there. They don't care. Or maybe they're up on points and there's 45 seconds left and you're going to lose the match if you just let them sit there and hold you. But they're just going to sit there and hold you. They have no intention of letting you, creating space to do anything. Now you have to get frames. Now you have to push and turn and use strength in a lot of ways to create space, because you only have so much time, or if you want to get out of that position. So it's not allowing yourself to get to those positions is probably the way you want to handle it. It's easier said than done, If you watch matches with smaller guys, very small but technical people versus larger folks, you'll watch, especially the smaller people on the bottom, you'll see that they're just making sure they're keeping feet on the hips so they can keep their distance management. They're using underhooks and turning to their side to not allow all the weight and pressure to be on them, getting under the center of gravity of the other person so their weight can't be on top of you. It's kind of, or if it's on you, it's kind of riding where you can move it where you want. you watch that. If you watched last week's stream, was it last week? Yeah, if you watched last week's stream, I reviewed a roll between a smaller purple belt and a much larger, I'm guessing white or blue belt. And the larger guy's like 6'6", big dude. Not super wide, like heavy big, but he's big. And the smaller guy is just a smaller dude. And you can watch that roll and go, oh, I see, essentially the smaller guy is not allowing him to apply all his weight on him most of the time. And when he does get weight on him, he's letting him get to a certain point or use it to pass. And then once he's in the middle of the pass, uses an opportunity in terms of turning and underhooking or whatever just to re-guard. Something I was talking to some folks yesterday about during training was that if you, let's say I have you in my close guard, right? And then you stand up and you posture up and you open my guard and you push your leg down and you push down and go over to like a pressure where your shoulder's down on me trying to drive my legs out. And you get to the side and I frame on you and I shrimp away and I shrimp in and I re-guard. We're right back where we started. Like, you started my close guard. You did a whole bunch of stuff that probably expelled a lot more energy than I did necessarily in defending, and we ended up in close guard. I'll take that. He just spended a bunch of energy, and it ended up exactly where we started. Like, that's a win for me. So understanding that and using that when you need it and stuff is just an important part of understanding how to kind of keep people from, I want to say like smashing you, just keep people from laying on you and driving on you, weight on you all the time and stuff. And I mean, if you're just a lower experienced person, it's just going to be tough if you're training with more experienced people, because you don't have a lot of options to get out of stuff. You don't have a lot of like opportunities and skills to like get their weight off of you. And the things you do know, they already know how to negate them and change position and keep weight on you and stuff. So yeah. What are we looking at? We're 143 here now. I was considering watching another match of some sort and kind of reviewing a little bit of a match, but I don't know. Try not to watch something that's super duper long. Actually, you know what I'll show you real quick? I'll show you a good, if I can find it. There's a sequence. There's a sequence, like a grappling sequence in a excuse me, in a MMA fight. I'm probably not going to be able to find it in time. It's gonna let me see if this is it real quick. I don't think this is it. This is the Bellator thing. No, this wasn't in Bellator. There's a sequence in a Rafael Lovato Jr. fight that was a great example of what I talk about when I say like technical jiu-jitsu will like will beat athleticism. This is a perfect example of it. I just need to find it. Let me see if I can find this thing real quick. Sorry, I should have prepped a little better for this. Kevin Holland, I believe it was versus Kevin Holland. That's it. Let's see if this is what I'm talking about here. Oh, this is what I'm seeing or talking about, but this isn't. This is the end of the sequence. I need to see the whole sequence because it's super impressive. Oh, here we go. Is it on here? Come on. Oh, the video's not on there. Full fight? Full fight. Or fight video. That's usually what it's. Video. Don't want fight results. I would really like a full fight video. Oh, that's it. Because essentially it's the fight turns into kind of like a grappling scramble, and oh, here we go. Oh, it's on Legacy Fights Facebook page. I'm like searching for like backdoor. 1 second. How do I full screen this? Swap this around real quick. So if you watch this, super impressive. So this is an example I would use to point to somebody and say, look, this is where like now obviously Lovato's an athletic guy, but this is where like technical jiu-jitsu will outclass athleticism, because essentially he just uses positioning and allowing the movement of Holland to open up more things for him. This fight's not a very long fight.
2 days notice for Kevin Holland. Dangerous opponent. Got nothing to lose.
You see Holland comes out pretty confident with those kicks. It's like you don't want to kick against someone that wants to take you down and get you to the ground. So Lovato catches the kick, pulls it in to the essentially the body lock to take him down. But if you look, so he's coming in, he's trying to get the underhook on the face, and Holland's turning down, so Lovato grabs his wrist to keep him from continuing to turn this way, because if you grab his wrist and pull it, the top of the body is going to spin, which is going to kind of force these legs back over. But Holland's a very athletic guy, and this match just started, so he's fresh as could be. But no sweat too, so very, very like sticky. So here he goes, see right there, like Holland tries to roll, he's using kind of goes with like a half Nelson. He's trying it right now, just trying to control Holland's hips. Turns over, comes over, hooks, turns over. Now this hook is bad. It's a bad position to be in for Holland because Lovato wants to keep this, but it's also a weird spot to be in because you have mount. So if you let go, you're in mount, which is good, but you also have him in a very awkward spot where you have an avenue right to his back here. Yeah, and see there. It was a good job by Holland. As soon as that arm got free, Holland postured up here and got high. So Lovato's trying to get this underhook on the head to flatten him and drive him back down to the ground. But one of the things I see here, just from a jiu-jitsu perspective, is there's a lot of opening here. If Lovato could bring his knee up here and drive it through, he can come around and start attacking the back. But the problem is, like, Holland's going to be pushing up. He's going to be, he's super athletic.
And look at it. The kid's very athletic. He's doing some freaky stuff right now against Lovato.
But see the hips, driving the hips, and then just uses it, turns him into it, and then just hips, all hips. All it was Lovato making sure that his hips are beating Holland's hips, because that's going to allow him to maintain the position, beating those hips, because he's not really winning the battle up here. Holland's up, and I mean, this is a lot of space. He's really postured up and set up very high, but
He's very athletic. He's doing some freaky stuff right now against Lovato.
He's trying, but you see how he can't use his body to position to drive the body back down, but the hips are pinning him down still, and he's driving his hips forward. And so he eventually, I think, lets him turn and just keeps the hips connected as he goes to the back. And so there, he lets Holland turn, and he comes up a little high. So now his hips are high. Holland has space. You see, So Lovato has to come up. But the thing is, if Lovato brings his body up and tries to come up top first, he's either going to get pushed forward. It's going to leave a lot of space for Holland to move his legs, or he's going to come up and Holland's going to get a knee in. But if you see, instead of fighting the battle to get up top, he just drives his hips back and wins the battle of the hips. Drives the hips down. And so now that the hips are now, it's bad. So now it just keeps that control. Now he's stuck. And so now with the body lock, Holland can't really move much. And even on that side, which isn't the best side to be on, this is actually not the greatest thing to be in, because with this hook, you can actually get ankle locked here. But the problem is, all the people in these levels are tough. They'll just let their ankle break while they choke you.
And is he about to find another first round submission?
Oh, that's it. Done.
He is. There's no doubt about it.
You're done.
You're gonna go to...
See, the thing is, if you're Holland, and this is way easier said than done. I mean, at this point, you're pretty much done. But right now, and the natural reaction is this: is he's trying to control the arm here. That's almost useless at this point. Like, both these hands need to come up and attack this grip. Because if you can break the grip, then you can stop the kill squeeze of the choke. Right now, with you know, but it's so deep under. It's the only thing he can do is basically he has to, like, balls out, take both hands, attack this grip. And with this grip, I mean, it's hard. He has to go over the top of this and kind of roll. Because right now, the choke's like this with stupid things in the way, like this with a grip like this. So he has to grab with both hands on the top, this hand here, and pull it down, because this is torquing in, so he needs to grab this hand and kind of roll it down so this grip is broke, so he can use both hands to open that and take that choke away, because you're never going to stop. I mean, you're never going to stop the choke now. That's why you have to try to control that grip beforehand, before it gets to this point. Of course, this is, like I said, easier said than done. But right now, like, he needs to be attacking the gripping. Both hands need to be attacking this, because the choke's already under the chin. He's done. So he has to control the gripping mechanism. And even then, I mean, some people can just choke you with one arm if they're strong enough and they have this hand locked on your shoulder. But it's easier to deal with than both hands, So he needs to break open this grip, control one hand, and then start attacking this choking arm. You can't attack the choking arm at all once this is through like this, and you don't have control of the grip. Because you see, Lovato starts with a rear naked choke. Like, he starts like he wants to do a rear naked choke to start. Like, he's trying to get this to his elbow, but he feels like he doesn't have the space to get it locked in. So he just transitions to the gable grip finish, like that. But see, Harris needs to be attacking the grip. But you can see in that exchange here, there's so many points that I would lose this. When I let this go, and this, I would probably either try to turn to take the back, or I'd get knocked over and lose position. But he's just the smoothness and the hip control is what really makes it all work. It's pretty impressive. So there we go. There's that. So my headset battery is dying, so give me a second here. That way I can still hear stuff. So we'll switch back to space. There we go. For some reason the thing wasn't showing up on my screen. So there's that. So that's the jiu-jitsu stuff I feel like I was probably going to talk about today. We'll get back to like full stuff next week, where I'll probably actually be showing stuff like full with the partner and stuff. My alpaca hat. feels pretty tight. A little itchy. I got it in Colorado. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a short, like 5-minute break or so. And then I'm going to, actually I'll probably kill the stream so it stops the jiu-jitsu stream portion. And then I'll probably come back and do some gaming for a little bit. So if you want to stick around for that, or anyone wants to stick around for that, just check back in or stay on this site. If not, done with jiu-jitsu stuff for today. Thank you. And I'll, like I said, we'll be back to like legit full jiu-jitsu stuff next week. So so if you're a follower of mine on Twitch or whatever, see you next week. If you haven't followed, follow so you'll get the stuff. All this stuff goes on my YouTube page as well. And whatever. Hit up my Instagram too. The Instagram thing is a big thing actually. That's a good way to actually like chat with me. Because I'm interested, especially the how I see a lot of the same people in here every week. Most of the people that I speak with on your train, and believe it or not, I'm actually interested in how your training's going or how your off time is going now, and all that. So it's like hit me up on there, let me know, whatever, check out my streams and let's hopefully get it back to training real soon. Like everybody back to training soon. I'm missing a lot of my training partners and stuff. So looking forward to that. So anyway, like I said, kill the stream now. I'll be back with some gaming stuff in about 5-10 minutes.